If you ever want to start a fight, just tell a crowded room that they need to fake it till they make it. Seriously, this idea seems to trigger so many people. But why? Because it's true? I don't know, we'll see. In this video, we're going to explore the idea of faking it till you make it. I'm LizJSimpson, founder of the Big Money Movement, and I'm accompanied by
Cheryl Parks
and Heather Petherick,
our esteemed coaches here at the Big Money Movement. And I want to kick it off to you two. What are your thoughts on this idea of faking it till you make it? Is it true? Is it false?
Yeah, I got to jump in here. So where I land in response to this phrase, right, and we hear it a lot, is on one hand, what I don't like about this phrase is when people interpret it as permission or license to be disingenuous or to lie.
Right.
Right? To be so disingenuous or so fake that they are deluding or misrepresenting themselves. But I do think there's merit in this saying if you look at it from the point of faking into, like taking a chance, taking a risk, stepping into territory that maybe you haven't before, and faking a level of confidence for your own benefit to see just how far you can go, right?
Yeah.
Especially when we look at business development, like there are so many areas for growth. And if we don't have the courage to stretch into new territory, how do we grow? How do we know and test our capacities? So I do think that there is an element of value in the fake it till you make it motto, in that it gives us some permission to try new things on, put ourselves in situations that maybe we're not totally comfortable or confident in, to surprise ourselves, to discover a new level of skill and capacity. Where I don't like this phrase, or where I totally disagree, is if it's interpreted as a license to to lie, to have flexible morals, or to misrepresent, for sure.
Yeah. This lands with me because when I think of my journey of business growth, you know, I've definitely faked it as a leader, meaning that I think leadership is about becoming and evolving. And so there were times, you know, where when I was, starting my business and I envisioned 6 figures, right? And so, you know, I was faking who I would be if I had a 6-figure business. Like I had not caught up with my own business reality yet. And so I was stepping into that. And by the time I caught up with, oh, okay, now I'm ready for 6-figure business, it's like now you're at 7 figures. And now I'm like, I don't know. For me, I'll say personally, my business has grown faster than my insides have. Like, if that makes sense. And so I'm constantly trying to keep pace with who I need to be. Yes. And so, but I still have to be at the helm and lead the business and lead my team. And so I feel like that's kind of the idea of faking it till you make it that resonates with me. It's like, I have a vision of who I want to be as a leader. And I may not have caught up yet. Like, internally, I still might have my own fears or imposter syndrome, but in order to lead effectively and in order to be the brand, I have to still show up confidently and kind of stretch myself. So that's just the internal saga that I know I'm constantly navigating.
Yeah. So I had to completely reframe this because I feel like this was a big deal when I first stepped into sales. And it was everything that you said. It was a license to just act out of integrity and misalignment and say whatever you wanted and hope that the buyer, the client, wouldn't figure it out and all of these things. So I had to reframe it for myself. And the way I use it is act like the person you want to be.
Right, exactly.
And I literally have used that since the beginning of time in my sales career. Because now sometimes you don't always know what that looks like. So I totally understand what you're saying about that fake it piece.
Yeah.
But for me, I always had to tell myself, act like the person you want to be.
Yeah.
Act like the person who has this level of integrity.
Yes.
Act like the person that can say, I don't know in the sales call.
Yep.
You know, I don't know, but I will find out.
Yeah.
And don't allow yourself to go into that area where you start thinking about the competition and like, well, the competitors would have just said X or Y or Z. It's like, no, you need to just say, I don't know the answer and come back to it. So that was always my thing. Act like the person you want to be. Yeah. And I think it served me well.
Yes. When I think of that, when you say that, like act like the person you want to be, that definitely resonates because it's like the decisions, I'm being stretched and I'm saying, well, this is the reality today, but how would Liz behave if she had an 8-figure business,
Right.
step into that now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But that's a stretch. I'm not there yet. I
Right.
haven't embodied that, but I have to like fake that presence until it becomes it.
Yes.
And I will say too, like fake it till you make it has served the hell out of me. Like when I think of my most traumatic experience, and many know that I lived in a domestic violence shelter for 9 months and I dealt with a lot of trauma. And before I had true belief in myself or before my confidence was built, I faked the hell out of it. You know what I mean? Until it became my reality.
Yes.
And even like my flaws, when I would look at my flaws, and I was very intentional, like things that I didn't like about myself, and like looking in the mirror and knowing at the time, you know, I don't like my nose, but staring in the mirror and saying like, I love my nose, right? And then until finally one day, like I looked in the mirror and I was like, what are these, like, where are these flaws that you thought you had, you know? And it's like changing your own mind or changing your own psychology. So that's my thought on
I
that.
love that. Changing your own mind.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the phrases that keeps coming up in this conversation for me is the advice that, you know, that career seekers are often given, you know, dress for the job that, not for the job that you
Ooh,
have,
but the one
that
you want.
right?
Yes.
And it's that same idea of stretching into and becoming that next level of yourself.
Yes.
And sometimes we, you know, whether it's what we wear or how we behave, sometimes we've got to borrow our future self's confidence,
Yes.
right? To be able to stretch into that territory. But I'm going to come back to that same, before I do that, I also want to honor what you said, Liz, because I think it's profound. That, you know, I don't want to make anyone wrong for faking it till they make it, particularly because sometimes that's all you've got.
Yeah.
When the chips are down and there is nowhere to go but
So
up,
true.
like you're at
Yeah.
rock bottom,
Yeah.
you need to be good at faking it till you make
Right.
it.
Yeah.
So you make it, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a bad strategy, it's not a wrong strategy. I just want to convey a level of caution that if you live in this MO for too long, I think your ego begins to believe the lie. Right? And you have false confidence, or you have, you know, a bigger ego than you should.
Yeah.
And that's the cautionary tale,
Yeah.
I think, with, you know, faking it till you make it.
Yeah.
But sometimes, maybe when the chips are down,
Yeah.
that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
But I think that exactly what you're saying is that you have to fill the gap with competence.
Yes.
Right?
Competence.
It has to
Yes.
come, the competence has to come into
Yeah.
it. Otherwise, you are indefinitely faking it till you make it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? So it's learning, it's growing, it's developing, it's building relationships. It's
Yeah.
all the things that need to fill those gaps. And then all of a sudden, you're faking it till you make it. And it's like you're walking on concrete
Yeah.
instead of floating in water.
What I think I'm hearing you all say is it's the it that's the variable. What are you faking? Are you faking that I'm enough so that you step into being enough? Or are you
Yes.
faking that I'm better than and then you become an inflated
another.
version of yourself?
Yes.
Right? Like, so I think fake it till you make it can serve you because it can help you with changing your own mind. But what are you focused on faking? Like, that's the danger. Like, what are you trying to become? For our clients, especially speaking to integrity, like we serve a community of women entrepreneurs who are consulting and they're being stretched as they serve corporate clients and landing bigger deals. And I just want to underscore what I, from a business sense, faking that you can deliver on something that you can't deliver on,
Right.
or faking a transformation that you can't create for a client.
Yes.
Faking that you're performing a service when you're not really doing that service and you're taking someone's money. Faking that, you know, here are my billable hours and these weren't your hours. Faking that you have a team when you're doing things by yourself. Like, for me, those are the things from a business standpoint that are just beyond the line. Like, I think for me, I'm okay with people faking an image of themselves they're trying to step into. I'm not okay with people, here's what it is. Fake yourself out to become a better person. Don't fake others out.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's the thing. Like, play mind games with
That's it.
yourself, but leave the rest of the world out of it.
Yes.
That's
Like,
exactly
I
it.
think that's how I stand. I think that's where I stand on it. I don't know.
Love that.
That's my answer, and I'm sticking with it. No, I totally agree with that.
Speaking of the big money movement and the women that we serve, what I've found to also be powerful when you're, I guess, playing mind games with yourself and evolving into the woman you want to be and dressing for the role,
Right.
you know, that you're looking for, is the power of community. Because I think a lot of times our limiting beliefs create this sinister voice. And when you're surrounded by other people who have similar fears or challenges and they're still doing amazing things, like the community's love and support can help just like fill those gaps for you as well. And where I think this might relate to fake it till you make it is a lot of the women we serve don't believe they belong in certain rooms.
Yes.
And I'm like, ma'am, we'll fake it anyway and take a damn seat at the table until you figure out.
Yes.
Those people that you're putting on a pedestal aren't that much different
They're
than
not
you
that special.
anyhow, right? And
Right.
so I think that might be an area of fake it till you make it, because we talk about corporate clients and executive buyers, and some women are just so intimidated to just
Yes.
put their hat in the ring. So I'm like, fake that. Just grab a seat,
Take
Right.
see what's really happening,
Yeah.
and you'll find you really do belong in those rooms. All right, so if that wasn't enough of a controversial conversation, we got one more for you. Do you believe that if you do what you love, the money will follow? Stay tuned to see what our thoughts are on the subject. Click that next video, and we'll see you there. Bye.